Chapter 5184. Su Qing comforted He Xiaomi. Other than the last sentence, everything he said was sincere. After watching Tang Guo's performance today, he knew that Tang Guo was the one who was blessed by God. She was more talented than He Xiaomi. Okay. He Xiaomi was disappointed that she couldn't win against Tang Guo. But when she thought about how Tang Guo had been in the industry for so many years, it was normal for her to lose. Tang Guo had acted in so many movies, and she had won many awards. She was recognized as one of the best young actors. He Xiaomi heaved a sigh of relief. I will do my best. She would do her best to surpass Tang Guo and be more outstanding than her. She would let Che Ruoqian know that she was not just a daughter. She was also outstanding and not someone who couldn't be seen in public. She would never give up on this relationship. She had to make Che Ruoqian accept her. Your performance today shocked me. I didn't expect you to be able to handle such a role. There are many things you don't know. So, don't look down on others. Zhuo Yi smiled. Yes, it's my fault. I underestimated Miss Tang. Someone secretly took photos of me today. I reckon that Tang Xiaomi and I will soon be on the hot search list. At that time, your job will come. Tang Guo recalled the scene of the audition. She was secretly photographed twice. The first time was when she met He Xiaomi. The second time was when she left the washroom with He Xiaomi. The paparazzi would let this matter fester. Ever since He Xiaomi debuted as the first female lead, she was scolded by the entire internet. Then, the situation changed. A large group of people treated her as their daughter and doted on her. Some female celebrities who were slightly related to He Xiaomi were attacked by He Xiaomi's fans. In the eyes of her fans, He Xiaomi was a pure and innocent flower. Everyone wanted to bully her, and it made their hearts ache. Tang Guo could already guess what the paparazzi would write. Even if the evidence was released, He Xiaomi's fans would not listen to it. They would still think that she was bullying a newcomer. Maybe He Xiaomi's company and team would use this to create hype. In this day and age, there weren't many people in this circle who didn't want to create hype. It would be a waste not to take the heat that was sent to them. Sure enough, a few days later, when Di Yuan officially announced that the female lead for the new movie was Tang Guo, the entire internet was shocked. After all, there were rumors that He Xiaomi might be the female lead in Di Yuan's new movie. The existence of fans was sometimes very mysterious. They would rather believe the news spread through the grapevine than accept the official results. They always felt that their idols were being ostracized and suffered losses. As soon as the news of Tang Guo acting as Di Yuan's female lead was released, it became a trending topic. Tang Guo also cooperated and forwarded the post. Of course, the comments were filled with blessings from the fans. However, Di Yuan's official account was not as calm. He Xiaomi's fans raised all kinds of questions. Why was it Tang Guo and not He Xiaomi? First of all, Tang Guo's image was not suitable. Secondly, didn't they say that He Xiaomi was the one who was chosen? Don't underestimate the power of your fans. After a while, the news of Tang Guo bullying a newcomer and intercepting He Xiaomi's post became a trending topic. Brother Zhuo, your job is here. Tang Guo leaned back in her chair and kept scrolling through her phone. Looking at the words that popped up quickly, she asked Zhuo Yi to get to work. Zhuo Yi, don't worry. Don't respond to this matter for now. Just wait for them to make a fuss. Okay, I'll listen to you. If my reputation is ruined, then it's your responsibility. Think of a way to fix it. Don't worry. It won't be ruined. This is not a big deal. Let's see how He Xiaomi will deal with it. If they don't respond, then they deserve to suffer losses. Chapter 5185. Do you know that when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction? If there are too many people scolding you, and you did not do anything wrong, the passersby will find those netizens who attack you online annoying, especially the fans of a certain company. Zhuo Yi smiled. Actually, at this time, He Xiaomi can neither respond nor not respond. But for the time being, they probably do not realize the seriousness of this matter. This industry is used to using this method to gain popularity. You are different from other female celebrities. You don't need this kind of popularity. Grab and seize. After all, you are going home to inherit the family fortune. Besides acting, you don't have time for other activities in the industry. He Xiaomi is different. She wants to take this path. She definitely needs popularity. If she doesn't respond this time, it means that their company may want to use this opportunity to make the fans feel sorry for Xiaomi. They will abuse her fans, consolidate her fans, and increase her fans. But they may have overlooked one point. That is, there will be people who will take advantage of the situation. They will crazily hire fake reviewers to attack you and defame you in the name of Xiaomi's fans. Zhuyi said meaningfully. This group of people is not doing well. They want to ruin Xiaomi's popularity and leave a bad impression on you. You are reading a book. Even if you don't have enemies in the industry and have not offended anyone, you can't escape from this. Tanghua smiled faintly and said, "That sounds reasonable. Then, should we wait?" "Let's wait. Director Zhai admires you so much. If this matter becomes too serious, he will take the initiative to clarify it for you. If he doesn't do that, I can secretly help you play a clip of the two of you. This is the last choice. But before that, I can secretly release some news. You two auditioned on the same day, and Xiaomi lost to you. You did not steal her victory. Okay, you can arrange it. These are not important." Indeed, they were not important. She was only waiting for the news of Xiaomi looking for her mother to be exposed. Everything else was trivial. For 2 consecutive days, only Xiaomi's fans questioned why Tanghua had taken Xiaomi's role. Did Tanghua bully a newcomer and use some tricks to force Xiaomi to give in? Now, it had evolved into Tanghua stealing Xiaomi's role, bullying a newcomer, and shamelessly attacking her on the internet. Of course, Tang Tianxua and his wife knew about this. They had originally planned to block these hot searches, but under Zhuyi's persuasion, they could only hold back. Zhuyi analyzed with them that this thing was useless. It could seal the internet, but it couldn't seal the netizens' mouths. There were so many platforms now. They did not do such a thing in the first place. If they did this, they would appear to be guilty. People would think that they were abusing their power and scold them for being bloodsuckers who bullied the weak. This would not be good for Tanghua's upcoming comeback. The current situation was that anyone who spoke up for Tanghua on the internet would be chased and scolded by a group of lunatics. As a result, many passers-by thought that Xiaomi's fans were crazy and hated Xiaomi. Xiaomi's company had already realized that something was wrong, but it was too late now. They gathered together and planned to make a clarification so that Xiaomi could restrain the fans' behavior. But before they could discuss the best outcome, Zhai Yuan could not take it anymore. He directly released the clip of Tanghua and Xiaomi's audition on his official account. At that moment, the uproar on the internet suddenly quieted down. Chapter 5186. The audition clip released by the official account attracted the attention of many people. When they saw Xiaomi's audition clip, many people wondered why Xiaomi was not chosen when she acted so well. Could it be that Tanghua really used some tricks to steal the role of the first female lead? When they saw Tanghua's audition clip, they only wanted to say one word. What the fuck? Xiaomi did not lose to her unjustly. The audition clip was released. There was no way that Tanghua bullied a newcomer or stole the role of the first female lead. The passers-by who had been watching and being attacked finally felt relieved. They felt that Xiaomi's fans were too despicable. Xiaomi quickly expressed her attitude and tried her best to salvage the situation. However, she had already left a bad impression on the passers-by. It was difficult for her to gain the favor of the passers-by like before. Only fans would protect her in all sorts of ways. There were still some comments on the internet saying that Xiaomi was just a newcomer and needed to learn from her seniors. It was normal that she could not compare to her seniors. When these comments appeared, many people were not used to it. Of course, this was just a small matter. It passed within 2 days. Tanghua did not care much about it. She did not even want to spend too much time on it. She did not rely on this to make a living. Xiaomi's company and Su Qing were trying their best to salvage Xiaomi's image. They quickly planned her future path to create a feeling that Xiaomi had been working hard. Whether it was Xiaomi or Su Qing, of course, they were aloof. They did not want to take advantage of Tanghua's popularity. Xiaomi did not want to. She felt that she was at a disadvantage. Su Qing felt that these things were useless. If they wanted to develop in the long run, they still needed the work to speak. Hence, when the popularity died down, they were very concerned about it and did not create any more trouble. Tanghua had already joined Di Yuan's crew for filming. She was very busy every day. Even so, she was still very concerned about Che Ruotian. Che Ruotian was busy in the company every day. With her husband and daughter's concern, she was getting more and more courageous to face the past. Unknowingly, a few months passed. The annual film festival came. He Xiaomi's newly debuted film won an award. Her role as the first female lead won the Best Newcomer award. There were a few actresses who were nominated at the same time. They were all very good actors in the industry. Hence, He Xiaomi did not win. Even so, many people were envious of He Xiaomi's achievements even though she was an amateur. During the awards ceremony, He Xiaomi was asked a question by the host. The host, Xiaomi, congratulations. Who do you want to share this joy with? Do you have anything to say to the person? Actually, this was just a process was to pass. He Xiaomi was very excited now. She had never thought that one day she would stand under such a dazzling spotlight, holding the trophy and sharing her joy with everyone. The host clearly felt that there was a story behind this, so he asked, "This person is?" Chapter 5187. This person is my mother. He Xiaomi didn't hide anything. She just wanted to vent. She would become more and more outstanding. In the future, her face would be everywhere. She didn't believe that Che Ruotian wouldn't notice at all. The host liked artists with stories. He asked, "It sounds like there's a story. Is it convenient for you to talk about your mother? There seems to be some conflict between the two of you." Yes, there are some. He Xiaomi wasn't afraid of this at all. I don't know if I can get her recognition now. I hope that the next time I get the Best Female Lead Award, she will acknowledge me and acknowledge me. It was almost time. It was time to be happy. The host didn't want to ask too much. It was enough now. In the end, he just said one sentence and wished He Xiaomi success. However, some of the sharper media felt that things weren't simple. He Xiaomi already had a lot of things to discover. Now that she revealed some things, they had to hurry up and find out more. Tangwa didn't go to the film festival because she didn't participate in the film festival, but she still watched the live broadcast of the film festival. When she saw He Xiaomi's words, she wasn't sure if He Xiaomi knew. Because of this, many people were interested in who her mother was and what happened between them. Che Ruotian was there too. When she saw He Xiaomi's acceptance speech, she didn't feel anything. She was also confused. He Xiaomi really didn't know. If she said this, many people would be interested. Would they follow her every day to film? It was only a matter of time before they found out about their relationship. Tang Tianxua held Che Ruotian's hand. Although he didn't say anything, the warmth in his hand gave Che Ruotian a lot of courage. "Don't worry. As long as you have your daughter by my side and don't leave me, I'm not afraid of anything. The most precious thing wouldn't slip away from her. What else could she be afraid of?" It's good that you think this way. Tang Tianxua was very worried every day. He was too afraid of losing Che Ruotian. He had to watch Che Ruotian fall asleep every day before he could sleep. He had to wake up early and see the warmth of the person lying beside him. Only then would he feel that this wasn't a dream. The next day, Tangwa received a call from Zhuo Yi. There are already many paparazzi following He Xiaomi. Currently, He Xiaomi's whereabouts are under their surveillance. Also, the He family's mother and son are under their observation. So fast. That was on the same day. After all, as a paparazzi, if you're not sharp, you won't be able to dig up first-hand information. Zhuo Yi said, someone has already contacted the He family's mother and son, intending to find out more about He Xiaomi's mother from them. It won't be long before the news gets out. Also, once they dig up the information, they will probably go to your family to blackmail you. Then I'm sorry, I don't have a penny. Tangwa coldly refused, which amused Zhuo Yi. If you're so stingy, they might write some articles that are unfavorable to you. Don't I have you? I've given you so many months' worth of salary for nothing. You have to work. Zhuo Yi only smiled, indicating that he would do his best. In fact, he had recently noticed that Che Ruotian was being healed by the father and daughter. She was no longer so afraid of everything that had happened in the past. There was only one problem she faced, and that was to not acknowledge He Xiaomi. No matter what happened to her, in the eyes of some people, not acknowledging their own daughter was a heinous crime. Especially with He Xiaomi's identity, the impact would be huge. Chapter 5188. Tanghua and He Xiaomi were busy with their own matters, but the He mother and son pair had been meeting a lot of people recently. These people wanted to dig up first-hand information, but the mother and son pair were not idiots. The moment they started talking about He Xiaomi's mother, they guessed something. They did not say who she was, but they cried when they met people. Xiaomi is so pitiful. She was abandoned by her mother when she was young. When she grew up, she went to look for her mother. In the end, that woman did not even acknowledge her as her daughter. Just this sentence alone could make a woman be scolded to death on the internet. The two of them tried to downplay their own existence. They talked bad about Che Ruoqian, but they did not reveal her identity. This made the paparazzi very anxious. But this bit of information was enough for them to write about. In less than 2 days, a trending topic about He Xiaomi appeared on the front page. Hashtag He Xiaomi was abandoned by her mother. Hashtag who was He Xiaomi? She was a popular female celebrity. A female celebrity who debuted as an amateur and became famous overnight. She was a female celebrity who won the Newcomer Award. There were too many mysteries about her. Now that she was abandoned by her mother, people remembered her. During the acceptance speech, the internet became lively again. Most of the discussions were about how pitiful He Xiaomi was. After the discussion, many people started to scold the mother who abandoned He Xiaomi. Although the article did not mention the details, the majority of the netizens were very imaginative. Because He Xiaomi came from a small mountain village, many people automatically thought that the woman must have abandoned her child because she could not live a poor life. There was no need for evidence on the internet. They could just make up a topic that was suitable for the current debate and countless people would agree. In an instant, the news of He Xiaomi's mother being poor and loving the rich spread like wildfire. On He Xiaomi's side, there was a group of mother fans. They called He Xiaomi their daughter and posted all kinds of comments on the internet, saying that they were targeting their daughter. As for the unknown mother, she was being scolded by all kinds of people. Che Ruoqian had been watching the news for the past 2 days. It was similar to what she had expected. Tang Tianxua and Tanghua did not want her to see this at first, but Che Ruoqian said that it was fine. She could still bear with it. You don't have to be so worried. Nothing will happen to me. Che Ruoqian saw how worried the two of them were and comforted them. Although they said it badly, it's not the truth. These things aren't as tough as when I started my business. Che Ruoqian really didn't care about He Xiaomi because she didn't pay attention to He Xiaomi's attitude towards this matter. It was a fact that she did not acknowledge He Xiaomi. If He Xiaomi hated her because of this, she had nothing to say. At this time, He Xiaomi was also looking at the trending topic. Recently, her fans had left her some heartwarming comments on her blog, which made her feel very happy. Based on the current situation, Tanghua planned to write an article and let the system help her to post it. This way, no one would be able to trace her address. The title of the article was, He Xiaomi, Do You Love Your Mother? Anyway, with He Xiaomi in the topic, it would definitely be on the hot search list. Even if it didn't, the system would make it. The content of the article was not long. He Xiaomi, I happened to see the award ceremony of the film festival. You said that you wanted to find your mother. There seems to be some misunderstanding between the two of you. But I can feel that you want your mother to see your success and acknowledge you. Chapter 5189. However, it didn't take long before He Xiaomi was abandoned by her mother, flooded the internet. There were many comments scolding your mother online, saying that your mother abandoned you because she despised the poor and loved the rich. Since your mother abandoned you and is a heartless woman, why are you still looking for her? If the rumors on the internet aren't true, why don't you clarify for your mother? So, He Xiaomi, do you love your mother? What misunderstandings do you have with your mother? Do you need to explain yourself to the netizens? I think that if a person really loves their mother, they definitely won't allow the internet to slander them. Not long after this article was posted, it became a trending topic and attracted many people's attention. Of course, there were still many people scolding He Xiaomi's mother, but there were also calm people who said that they really needed the person involved to respond. If they were really wrong and those things were made up by the marketing team, it would be unfair to both parties. When He Xiaomi saw this article, she didn't know what to do. The company called her and asked her what was going on. My mother did abandon me when I was very young, but there were some reasons. No matter what, I still want to find her. So, It's true that she abandoned you? He Xiaomi. Yes, whether it's true or not, you're a public artist. You can't publicly say that you hate your mother. Such words will make some people dislike you. After all, you gave birth to her. Why don't you show your attitude and warn those marketing team not to spread rumors? Also, you don't want your private matters to occupy the public platform. You want to appear on the public platform with your own work. He Xiaomi heaved a sigh of relief. Okay, I'll listen to you. The company felt that there was no problem and helped He Xiaomi to respond. Indeed, He Xiaomi's fans were very supportive of her. Although she didn't explain anything, she didn't slander her mother either. She even mentioned that she hoped that she would appear with her own work. This showed that He Xiaomi was dedicated to her work. If the fans still didn't let go of this, it would hinder her career. Anyway, He Xiaomi gained a lot of fans after this. Some people even guessed that He Xiaomi didn't want to be too ruthless, so she stopped it. After all, it was her mother. She didn't want to be scolded, no matter how bad her mother was. However, at this time, marketing was not easy. Someone revealed that He Xiaomi's mother's current status was not low. She was a rich lady in the business circle. Of course, this information was leaked by the He family's mother and son. They had secretly leaked the news and sold it to others. This was because they realized that they could earn a lot of money by selling this information. On the surface, when they dealt with the media, they never mentioned the true identity of He Xiaomi's mother. They hid it very well. The reason why they called Che Ruotian a rich madam was because in their impression, it was impossible for an ordinary woman to be rich. Little did she know that half of Tangkor was built by Che Ruotian. Therefore, many people did not think of Che Ruotian when they found out that the woman was a rich man's wife. Anyone who knew Che Ruotian would not call her a rich madam. They would only think that she was a strong woman. The rumors could no longer be stopped. Now, more and more people were curious about who would be so rich and yet refuse to acknowledge their own daughter. Some of the rich ladies who were watching the show did not expect to be involved in their circle. They were also guessing who it was. Chapter 5190. Of course, Tangwa knew what the He family's mother and son were doing. The system had been monitoring them. She didn't stop them because she wanted this matter to be exposed as soon as possible. If it could be solved as soon as possible, there wouldn't be any trouble in the future. But she didn't expect that the He family's mother and son would sell this for a high price. They were indeed smart. They were smart, but at the same time, she had the evidence in her hands. When the matter was over, this evidence would be used to push them down. The matter was already fermenting, and there was no way to stop it. He Xiaomi's company still let He Xiaomi continue to express her position. They didn't want her private life to be taken over by the public. Anyway, she couldn't choose to respond to this matter. Otherwise, no matter how she responded, it would be very disadvantageous for her. He Xiaomi also posted that she had been working hard on filming recently. Then, she completely disappeared. She had to admit that the company's way of dealing with this matter was really good. This way, it wouldn't be easy for the netizens to criticize her. But with the He family's mother and son around, this matter would never end. They didn't continue to expose Che Ruotian's matter. Actually, they were also very afraid that if this matter was exposed, it would be disadvantageous for them. But the media was really interested in this matter. Every day, the two of them would meet many people and interview them. The two of them could only say ambiguously that He Xiaomi's mother had run away suddenly back then. He Xiaomi went to find her twice, but there was no reply. The other party had already expressed that they didn't admit it. The next hot topic was the interview about He Xiaomi's grandmother and father. In the interview video, the two of them looked very simple. At first glance, one could tell that they were from a poor family in the mountains. The image of the two of them also proved that He Xiaomi's mother probably despised the village for being too poor and abandoned her daughter to run away. Many people felt that this matter didn't need to be cleared up anymore. In the interview, the He family's mother and son still expressed that they hoped that He Xiaomi's wish would come true. They still refused to reveal the real identity of He Xiaomi's mother. Then, many netizens imagined that this family was so kind and simple, but they still refused to reveal the real identity of the other party. Tangwa saw the reports and interviews one after another. She simply wanted to laugh. It was too ironic. Was the word bad written on their faces? Since when did people judge a person based on their appearance? Were they really that simple just because they looked simple? They even felt sorry for Grandma He and Father He. They looked so pitiful. They didn't deserve to feel sorry for their father and grandmother. Tangwa felt that things were getting worse and it was time for her to take action again. She asked her assistant to contact He Xiaomi and said that she needed to communicate with her. Of course, for safety reasons, they did not meet in person and only communicated over the phone. He Xiaomi, I don't think there's anything to talk about between us. We've already said what we needed to say last time. You are her daughter, and so am I, Tangwa asked. Have you seen the news on the internet? I know, but I've already responded. I hope that the netizens won't discuss my private matters, He Xiaomi said. Tangwa, but your grandma and dad have been accepting interviews. If this continues, more and more people on the internet will scold my mom. She didn't do anything wrong and doesn't deserve to be scolded like this. Do you really think of her as your mother? If this matter were to be exposed one day, do you know how much damage she would suffer? He Xiaomi was silent for a minute before she said, I don't have the ability to shut the netizens' mouths. I don't want them to discuss it, but this matter has already been exposed. What do you want me to do? Persuade your dad and grandma. I hope that they can refuse to be interviewed. They should know very well what happened to my mom back then. He Xiaomi was silent for another minute before she said, they didn't reveal her real identity, and they can't do anything now. It was the media who found her. How can you blame them? If that's the case, why are you still looking for your mom? Isn't your family doing well? You're not looking for your mom, but for revenge, right? He Xiaomi, I just don't understand why she refuses to acknowledge me. Chapter 5191. Have you thought about the consequences if this matter is exposed one day? He Xiaomi said, Miss Tang, you're not me. You grew up in a happy family, so of course you don't understand how I yearn for a mother. I'm not blaming you for this, but I hope you don't take it for granted. You're just an outsider, not me. You'll never understand how I feel. Also, I don't want to talk about this matter anymore. Let's call it a day. I won't take the initiative to say anything in public. What happened has happened. How you want to cover it up is your business. It has nothing to do with me. She doesn't want to acknowledge me. Now that people are curious about this, you can't expect me to help you cover up the truth, right? If this isn't the truth, it's fine to clarify it. But this is the truth. I can't lie to my fans and say that this matter didn't happen. After saying a lot, He Xiaomi said that she was busy and hung up the phone. Tangwa was not angry. She had expected this. Of course, she could tell that He Xiaomi was angry with Che Ruoqian. Sister Xiaomi, are you ready? The double is here. Next, it's time for your big scene. He Xiaomi had been filming a drama about the twin sisters. In the middle of the drama, she needed a double to cooperate with her to maintain the continuity of the scene. She was a flexible person, so she put a lot of effort into the fight scene. Perhaps she didn't know how much she wanted to gain a foothold in this city. She wanted to surpass Tangwa and even the family Tang. Okay, I'm ready. He Xiaomi handed the phone to her assistant and ran over. It was a difficult fight scene. After more than 3 hours, the director was finally satisfied. He Xiaomi and the double were both exhausted. When they stopped to rest, she carefully sized up the double, who was drinking water. After makeup, this person did look a little like her. Even her body shape was similar. She felt that she was quite professional when it came to fighting scenes. Unfortunately, there were countless people like her in the industry. Few were lucky enough to climb up. You are He Xiaomi from He Village, right? Just as He Xiaomi was thinking about how lucky she was, she suddenly heard a voice. She turned her head and saw that it was the body double talking to her. He Xiaomi didn't put on any airs at this time. She didn't quite understand why the other party would ask such a question that everyone knew, but she still nodded. I am He Xiaomi. Do you still remember me? The girl's excitement made He Xiaomi a little confused. She carefully looked at the young girl in front of her. She seemed to be younger than her, but she really couldn't remember such a person. Could it be someone she knew when she used to work? She shook her head. Probably not. At that time, she worked hard and only wanted to earn more money. She didn't make many friends at all. I don't remember. Who are you? He Xiaomi was now very careful with her words and actions. After the incident last time, She was afraid that if she did something wrong, it would be photographed and magnified on the internet. When she was on set, whether it was to the people around her, the other staff members, or even strangers, her attitude was very gentle. Chapter 5192. Zhang Xiaohua. I'm Zhang Xiaohua. The girl introduced herself excitedly. I'm Zhang Xiaohua from He Village. After I graduated from high school, I was almost forced to marry someone from my family, but I didn't want to, so I asked for the protection of the local women and went out to work. My grades weren't good. If I could get into university, I wouldn't have to work so early. You were already out at that time, so you might not remember me. After that, I went through a lot of things and unintentionally became an extra. Because I'm good-looking, the small roles I got were okay. After that, I learned some martial arts from my teacher. When I was an extra, I was also a stunt double. As long as I had the money, I would do it. He Xiaomi looked at the silly smile on Zhang Xiaohua's face and finally remembered who she was. Zhang Xiaohua was also from He Village. Not all the people in He Village had the surname He. Some of them had other surnames. Zhang Xiaohua was a few years younger than He Xiaomi. Her fate was similar to He Xiaomi's. After the accident in He Village, Zhang Xiaohua's mother left without hesitation and never came back, similar to Che Ruoqian. However, Che Ruoqian left on her own, while Zhang Xiaohua's mother was taken away by her family. Seeing that Zhang Xiaohua was just a stunt double and the best she could do was to be an extra, He Xiaomi felt that she was much luckier. Xiaomi, you're luckier than us. You're the female lead as soon as you debuted. When I saw your life, I couldn't believe it. You've made all the girls in He Village proud. Zhang Xiaohua's smile was pure. It was obvious that she was sincerely happy for He Xiaomi. You're so promising. It's an honor to know you. He Xiaomi only responded faintly and didn't show much enthusiasm. To be honest, she had suffered a lot in the years she worked outside. Some people said that they were friendly, but in fact, there were a lot of troublesome things that she didn't want to take care of at all. Therefore, she acted so indifferently because she wanted to let Zhang Xiaohua understand. Zhang Xiaohua was immersed in the joy of reuniting with her fellow villagers and didn't think about that at all. She had always been self-aware that everyone had their own destiny. She was now an extra and a stunt double. Occasionally, she would take on other private jobs and earn tens of thousands of yuan a month. She had already made up her mind. Now, she would save up for a down payment and buy a one-bedroom house in this city. The relatives in He family village were unreliable. As for her biological mother, she didn't think of looking for her. That would ruin the other party's rare peaceful life. She had hands and feet. She didn't lack food or clothing. She could live a good life. If he could meet someone he liked, he would seriously fall in love, get married, and have children. If she hadn't met the right person, she would stay single for the time being. In this world, it wasn't as if she couldn't live without someone. She liked her current life very much. She had always been aiming for this goal. Her thoughts were not as complicated as He Xiaomi's. However, after exchanging a few more words, she also felt He Xiaomi's coldness. She understood that He Xiaomi was a superstar. The fact that she was willing to talk to her was already a good attitude. She didn't want to ask for too much. She didn't think about anything else. It was just that she hadn't seen her fellow countrymen for a long time, so she couldn't control her emotions. How have you been all these years? He Xiaomi asked. Perhaps because they had similar experiences, He Xiaomi was more talkative. Chapter 5193. Zhang Xiaohua smiled and said, "It's okay. After I came out, I realized that the world is so big. I finally understand why the teacher told us to study hard. Unfortunately, I'm not cut out for studying. I wasted so many resources. The teacher gave me special treatment, but I couldn't pass the subjects. I was born unable to eat that bowl of rice. Fortunately, the outside world is big. The opportunities are good too. As long as I work hard, it won't be a problem to eat. All in all, it's not bad." Zhang Xiaohua started chatting endlessly because she really wanted to share her feelings with someone. In another 2 years, I should be able to settle down in this city. He Xiaomi asked subconsciously, "Are you going to buy a house and change your household registration?" "Yes, I'm going to buy a one-bedroom house. It'll be considered a home. When the time comes, I'll be completely separated from that place. Although I'll be burdened with a very high mortgage, my heart will be settled. I won't be homeless anymore. When He Xiaomi heard this, she subconsciously thought of herself. She had just acted in her first movie and received a large sum of money. It was enough for her to buy a house to her liking. Zhang Xiaohua had been out for so many years. She had been a small-time actress and a stunt double. It would take her 2 years to save enough money for the down payment. She suddenly felt lucky. After coming out and seeing the outside world, she realized that the outside world was prosperous. If she hadn't come to this city and met Su Qing, she would never have been able to walk this path. Perhaps she would have walked the same path as Zhang Xiaohua in the future, or even have it harder. Zhang Xiaohua could earn tens of thousands of yuan a month. When she first started working, she worked so hard and only earned 5,000 to 6,000 yuan a month. In such a prosperous and expensive city, she might not be able to save enough money for the down payment even after 10 years. Of course, He Xiaomi didn't reveal this. She asked again, "Have you gone to look for your mother?" Zhang Xiaohua's smile froze. She looked carefully at He Xiaomi. She had been paying attention to He Xiaomi ever since she debuted. Of course, she knew about the rumors. She didn't like to judge others. To be honest, she didn't think much about what He Xiaomi said. Now, she only wanted to make money. Nothing else was important. She didn't understand why He Xiaomi suddenly asked this. But she still answered honestly, "Of course not. Why don't you go look for her? Don't you want to understand her current situation and see her attitude towards you?" He Xiaomi asked this question because she wanted to find a sense of identity with Zhang Xiaohua. After all, their experiences were very similar. Zhang Xiaohua smiled and said, "Our meeting was a mistake. Now that I have a new life and she has a new life, why should we meet? Of course I would be glad if she would come to see me. If she doesn't come on her own accord, I don't want to disturb her. She's your biological mother after all. Don't you resent her for not coming to find you?" "Why do you resent me? I might have had such thoughts when I was young, but I don't have them now." As for why, Zhang Xiaohua did not want to explain. Perhaps it was because she had been talking about the outside world for so many years that she understood many things and knew how to consider things from a different perspective. He Xiaomi didn't understand Xiaohua's thoughts, but Xiaohua knew what He Xiaomi was thinking, but she didn't say anything. This was someone else's business. She didn't want to get into trouble. Right now, she only wanted to make money. She only hoped that she could save enough money for the down payment as soon as possible and buy a small house of her own. That was the most important thing. Chapter 5194. He Xiaomi felt that there was nothing to talk about with Xiaohua. She knew that there was a big gap between them. During the rest of the scenes, they didn't talk about He Village even though they were sitting together. Of course, they didn't exchange contact information. He Xiaomi had planned to give Xiaohua the contact information of a random crew member if Xiaohua asked. But she didn't expect that they wouldn't exchange contact information until Xiaohua's stunt double finished. That day, the sun was shining brightly. Zhang Xiaohua was sweating profusely because of the last fight scene. He Xiaomi stood in the corner and watched Xiaohua greet the director and the other crew members with a smile. Xiaohua returned the costume and ran out of the set. She heard that she had 2 more scenes in the afternoon. He Xiaomi also heard that Xiaohua was the most popular special actress in the film. Every director who came to film would ask if Xiaohua was around. Even if she couldn't become famous, it was still good for her to survive in the film industry. He Xiaomi felt that it wasn't easy for Xiaohua to become famous unless she met someone who could support her. But many people wouldn't have such an opportunity even if they waited their whole lives. The competition in the industry was too strong. Without background and money, it was impossible to make it. After finishing her work with Xiaohua, He Xiaomi continued with the next scene. What she didn't know was that Xiaohua went to Tangwa's set in the afternoon. This time, she was a special actress. Because of her good looks, figure, and fighting skills, the director asked her to be in the first place. It could be said that she was very busy now. Every day, she had endless work to do and endless money to earn. She was very happy and wished that she could be divided into several parts to do the work. At this time, Tangwa wasn't filming Di Yuan's movie. That movie had already finished filming, and she had accepted another TV series. "Xiaohua, you have to work hard. Try to perform well so that the director can give you more screen time. I highly recommend you this time, and the director knows that you're good. If you perform well, you might be able to get the role of the supporting female lead next time. This time, you will be the 5th female lead. If you do well, there will be no complaints. It's also your chance. If it weren't for your figure, beauty, and ability to fight, this role wouldn't have landed on you. The person who spoke to Jiang Xiaohua was her supervisor. He had always thought highly of her, but she had no background or money. It was not easy for her to get promoted, so she could only wait for an opportunity. Okay, Sister Li, I won't work hard. I won't let you down. Sister Li patted Jiang Xiaohua's shoulder with a smile on her face. Hurry up and go. Leave a good impression. This time, you can even meet movie Queen Tang. Maybe you can even act with her. Movie Queen Tang is approachable. If you have a sweet mouth, you'll benefit a lot from her advice. All right. Jiang Xiaohua was also a little excited. It was not important to give her pointers. She could slowly learn from them. It would be great if she could get an autograph. She touched her pocket. She had prepared a small notebook and a pen. This time, she was really going to shamelessly ask for an autograph. If she behaved well, she should be noticed, right? She was not a fan of Tanghua. She was a fan of her looks. Especially in the past few months, she felt that Tanghua was becoming more and more beautiful. She was simply too charming. The small notebook was filled with the photos she had printed out. On the set, Tanghua noticed that someone kept sneaking glances at her. Every time she looked over, the person quickly looked away. Once, she was determined to catch the person. She quickly looked over. Jiang Xiaohua was caught in the act. It was too late for her to dodge. She could only smile at Tanghua. Chapter 5195. Tanghua took the initiative to walk in front of Jiang Xiaohua, looked at the beautiful dress of the other party, and asked, "You are playing Su Qingqing, right?" "Well, yes, that's right, movie Queen Tang." Jiang Xiaohua was a little incoherent. She didn't expect that Tanghua would talk to her. She was so excited. Tanghua was familiar with the script. Of course, she knew the character Su Qingqing. She was one of the highlights of this TV series. She had a few scenes with her and a few fighting scenes. "Why did you look at me just now? Is there anything wrong?" Jiang Xiaohua quickly denied. No, it's the first time I've seen movie Queen Tang so close. You are so beautiful that I feel that the camera can't capture your beauty. You are a little unphotogenic. Someone said the same thing to you before. Tanghua thought of Zhua Yi. Every time she was filming, that guy would hang around nearby and find a temporary job for himself. Let's do a scene before it's our turn. How about it? Tanghua felt that Jiang Xiaohua's eyes were particularly bright, full of enthusiasm, struggle, and hope that many people didn't have. She looked like a particularly energetic person. Since she had a scene with her, she might as well do it first. She had heard the director say before that Su Qingqing was an excellent character in the script. The only thing was that she had fewer scenes. But there were high requirements for actors. They had to have a good figure, a good-looking face, and most importantly, they had to be able to fight and be flexible. Many actors could achieve the first two, but not many actors could withstand the director's slow-motion test for the last one. Because every time Su Qingqing appeared in the scene, not only her movements had to be handsome, but also her beautiful face had to be close-up. There were very few actresses who met all the requirements. Even some stunt doubles couldn't do it. Among the countless people recommended, only Jiang Xiaohua met the requirements. In the short conversation just now, Tanghua felt that Jiang Xiaohua looked very good. She exuded a kind of hope all over her body, giving people a very bright feeling. If there were no accidents, if Jiang Xiaohua could perform well this time, she would most likely be able to turn over a new leaf. Anyway, she had nothing to do, so it was not bad to guide two more newcomers. Ever since she started acting, as long as she saw something good, she would unreservedly give pointers. Unknowingly, she had formed a lot of good karma. Jiang Xiaohua was flattered. Of course, she nodded repeatedly. How could she miss such a good opportunity? In the next half an hour, Tanghua went through the scenes with Jiang Xiaohua. She even briefly communicated with Jiang Xiaohua about some of the action scenes. Jiang Xiaohua was stunned. Tanghua's fighting skills were so good. He had never heard of her before. The other onlookers were also stunned. She was so straightforward. Previously, the director had said that if Tangwa couldn't do some fast and long shots, he would find 2 martial arts doubles for her. But now, it seemed like there was no need for that. Although it was only half an hour, Tangwa said a few words from time to time, and Zhang Xiaohua listened to everything. In a short time, he was enlightened, and the accumulation of the past few years exploded in an instant. This explosive power might last for a long time. When the director learned about the situation of Tangwa and Zhang Xiaohua, he was also overjoyed. When shooting the 2 of them, he put a lot of thought into it. Looking at Tangwa and Zhang Xiaohua, his eyes lit up, especially Zhang Xiaohua. He felt that this was a treasure that he had dug out himself, so he gave her a lot of advice. The main thing was that Tangwa was really impeccable, and he couldn't find any room for him to play. Then, he felt that Zhang Xiaohua's role of Su Qingqing was too sad and beautiful, so he had to add more scenes. When the time came, it would be better to make the audience cry more. Tangwa also knew Zhang Xiaohua's name, and she was stunned at that time. Because in the original plot, Zhang Xiaohua did exist. Chapter 5196. Whether it was in the original plot or now, Zhang Xiaohua only had one goal, which was to settle down in this city and never return to that small mountain village. That place, and the people there were not worthy of her nostalgia. She had worked hard for many years and finally had enough money for the down payment. She planned to buy a 1-bedroom apartment and settle down. However, fate was sometimes so difficult to be at peace with. She was clearly trying her best to live, but things always went against her wishes. When Zhang Xiaohua was preparing to buy a house, the Zhang family in the He family village at the foot of the mountain found out about it. Of course, they were very jealous. After they found out about Zhang Xiaohua's whereabouts, they came to find her and used force to take her back. After they brought her back, they planned to marry her off as soon as possible. Of course, Zhang Xiaohua was unwilling. The Zhang family wanted her to take out all her money to repay their kindness of raising her. In order to avoid being married off, Zhang Xiaohua could only compromise. She thought that even if the money was gone, she still had time to earn it. If she really got married, she could only stay in this small mountain village forever. She did not know that after the Zhang family got the money, they did not plan to let her go at all. They took her identity card and locked her in the house. During this time, there were people who came to talk about Zhang Xiaohua's marriage, but Zhang Xiaohua did not compromise. As long as they came to talk about marriage, she would do something extreme. After those people saw such a crazy woman, they did not dare to marry her. Some people coveted Zhang Xiaohua's beauty and wanted to marry her by force. However, Zhang Xiaohua said in front of those people that if they were not afraid of death, they could marry her. All kinds of gloomy and scary words were indeed persuasive to those who came to propose marriage. No one dared to imagine that if they fell asleep at night, they would never wake up in the morning. No one was not afraid of death. The Zhang family locked Zhang Xiaohua up for 3 years and did not give her much food. In the end, they saw that they had no choice but to let Zhang Xiaohua go. However, at this time, Zhang Xiaohua had lost her best opportunity. When she returned to her original place, she was not so popular anymore. After 3 years, her appearance and temperament had changed a lot. At this time, she no longer had an advantage because of her age. This time, she could only be an extra. Even if she later called the police and sued the Zhang family, she could not get her money and youth back. The members of the Zhang family were like dead pigs that were not afraid of boiling water. Becoming a deadbeat had no effect on them at all. Zhang Xiaohua still stayed in the city as an extra. In those 3 years, the housing prices had skyrocketed, and she had missed the best opportunity to settle down. Now, she was not earning as much money as before. Even the light in her eyes was much dimmer. She felt like she had lost all hope. Tangwa also found a key point in the plot. Zhang Xiaohua did not contact the Zhang family at all, and the Zhang family did not pay much attention to the TV series. At that time, Zhang Xiaohua did not have many cameras, and he had changed a lot. The Zhang family might not be able to recognize him. Why were they able to find Zhang Xiaohua so accurately? This credit belonged to none other than He Xiaomi. Although He Xiaomi wanted to settle down in this city, she would still go back with her mother and son during festivals. When he met the Zhang family, It was inevitable that Jiang Xiaohua would be mentioned. Jiang Xiaohua would never have thought that the person who shattered her dreams was He Xiaomi, who had spoken a few words with the Jiang family. In the end, He Xiaomi even helped them find her. Chapter 5197. Moreover, she was overjoyed when the director decided to give Jiang Xiaohua more scenes. After working hard for so many years, she could finally show her face a few more times. What made her the happiest was that her goddess treated her very well. Every day, she would patiently correct her mistakes and teach her some skills. Anyone who knew Jiang Xiaohua knew that she was a hard-working woman. Most people who knew Jiang Xiaohua would not be jealous of her. Jiang Xiaohua had a sweet mouth and was hard-working. She got along very well with the crew. Especially Tangwa's closeness to her, the crew did not dare to underestimate her. Those who had some experience knew that Jiang Xiaohua was going to make a name for herself. Originally, she was the 5th female lead. After the director added more scenes, she managed to survive until the last few episodes. Her scenes were almost comparable to the 2nd female lead. Jiang Xiaohua performed very well. The director remembered her completely. On the day that Jiang Xiaohua finished filming, Tangwa asked, "Do you have a contract with a company?" "Nope." Jiang Xiaohua did not have a contract with a company, but she had a person in charge who was like an agent. This person was the one who introduced her to jobs as an extra in the beginning. She was still an individual now. It was not that she did not want to be signed, but that she did not have the chance. Signing her meant that she had to be given resources. Right now, she was not famous, popular, and had no background or resources. Under normal circumstances, the company would not promote someone for no reason. Although some people were at the top when they debuted, no one knew what they had sacrificed behind the scenes. Moreover, she was a straightforward person. She had her own principles. She was not willing to do things that crossed her bottom line. Perhaps this was one of the reasons why Jiang Xiaohua had not been able to make a name for herself. "I think you're not bad. Your basic skills are very solid. Not many actresses can compare to you in action scenes. Although some details are a little rough, as long as you undergo some systematic training, this flaw will be quickly fixed." After Tangwa finished speaking, she did not wait for Jiang Xiaohua to speak. "Are you interested in joining my company?" As the heiress of the Tang group, Tangwa had her own company. That way, she would have more freedom and would not be bound by strange contracts. Previously, when she met other artistes, she did not have such thoughts. When she saw Jiang Xiaohua's desperate look, she was a little tempted, especially when she knew what Jiang Xiaohua might encounter in the future. She felt that it would be better to sign her as soon as possible. When the time came, she would give her an assistant and a bodyguard. If the Jiang family dared to take her away, they would have to ask for her permission first. Jiang Xiaohua thought that she would stand out, but she did not expect that Tangwa would propose to sign her. At that moment, her mind went blank. She was obviously quite eloquent and could speak human language when she saw people or ghosts, but at this moment, she didn't know how to express her feelings. Tangwa was not in a hurry. She waited for Jiang Xiaohua to calm down. Jiang Xiaohua's face was red with excitement, and he slowly calmed down. "Movie Queen Tang, do you really want to sign me? I'm just a special guest who knows a little kung fu. I'm not popular, and I don't have any background. Also, I have my own principles. Some bottom lines can't be crossed." If she really didn't care about her bottom line, perhaps with this appearance, she would have already settled down in this city. However, she only wanted to live a clean life in this world because her background was not clean. She did not want to sell herself for fame and fortune. Chapter 5198. After confirming that Tangwa was going to sign her, Jiang Xiaohua burst into tears and hurriedly expressed her willingness. She didn't expect that she would be so lucky to be signed by a company that belonged to her goddess. It was a perfect life. "You can go to the company with my assistant later to read the contract. Someone came to see you before. She should be the person who arranged the work for you, right?" "Yes, that's Sister Lee. She has been taking care of me since I came here. Sister Lee is a very nice person. Many people are indebted to her. Sister Lee is too righteous. People often say that she can't do great things. What do you think of her being your agent? If she is willing, the company can sign both of you." If she has good potential, she can help the company choose and sign them. Tangwa thought of this mainly because the person who was called Sister Li was indeed a good person. She was one of the nicer people in this area. She took good care of the newcomers. In the original plot, she didn't dislike Jiang Xiaohua when she went back. She even called the police and sued the Jiang family. Although there were not many results, she didn't give up on Jiang Xiaohua. However, the Jiang family had tortured Jiang Xiaohua for years. They had tortured her until she lost all her spirit, drive, and hope. Regardless of whether it was physical or mental damage, there was no way for her to recover from it. Is that really okay? Jiang Xiaohua didn't know what to say. To be honest, after she agreed, she felt a little sad that she couldn't work with Sister Li in the future. Then I'll go find Sister Li right away. Tangwa watched Jiang Xiaohua run out in a hurry, and a smile appeared on her face. Miss Tang, are you planning to expand your business and train newcomers? The person who asked the question was Zhua Yi. He was wearing a cap. Because he was dressed as a staff member, no one said anything when he talked to Tangwa. Because he was now the prop master of this crew, Tangwa didn't know what was going on. No matter which crew she was in, Zhua Yi was there. Sometimes he was the prop master, sometimes he was the lighting technician, and sometimes he was in other positions. Anyway, he was everywhere. Now, she finally understood. If this guy became a media person in the entertainment industry, there might not be many artistes' secrets that could escape his eyes. He was too versatile. She suspected that Zhua Yi would dig a tunnel. Little Flower Jiang is really not bad. She's such a good seedling. It's a pity that she's always been a special actress. With a little training, she'll shine. Zhua Yi said, she's pretty good. It's rare to find someone so down-to-earth and hard-working in this industry. This was because this was a very fickle circle. Many people were here for fame and fortune. It was impossible for them to be as patient and serious as Jiang Xiaohua. Most people chose to take shortcuts as much as possible. No matter what the shortcut required, as long as they could achieve their goals, it was fine. Jiang Xiaohua had principles and a bottom line. However, it was often difficult for people like her to make a name for themselves because the things that she couldn't let go of happened to make her feel uncomfortable in this circle. After being in the circle for so many years, how many people could still hold onto their original hearts? I have a feeling that after she becomes famous, she can make me a lot of money. Zhua Yi was amused. If you think so highly of her, this investment won't be a loss. In fact, Zhua Yi felt that Tangwa didn't sign Jiang Xiaohua to let her make money. He couldn't guess the reason. Maybe she admired her. Chapter 5199. Sister Li. Xiaohua finally found Li Chai in the crowd with a megaphone. She went over and hugged her, ignoring the fact that she was having trouble breathing. Sister Li, good news. Good news. Li Chai pushed the huge pendant away, rubbed her neck and said angrily, what good news? Did the director change the ending for you? Li Chai knew that Jiang Xiaohua had been given extra scenes. She didn't expect that so many scenes would be added, almost surpassing the second female lead. She believed that after this drama aired, Xiaohua's popularity would definitely increase. But she was also a little unhappy. Xiaohua was the best person she had at the moment. When her popularity increased, there would definitely be companies coming to sign her, and they would have fewer chances to meet in the future. Maybe it wouldn't be long before things changed, and there would be some distance between the two of them. Li Chai felt sad just thinking about it. She didn't know if Xiaohua, who was so pure, would become like other people in the future and become unrecognizable. Sister Li, I can sign with a company. Li Chai was stunned. Had a company found out about Xiaohua and wanted to sign her? Which company? It's my goddess's company. Jiang Xiaohua couldn't hide his thoughts, so he spilled the beans without hesitation. Li Chai was even more incredulous. As far as she knew, Tangwa's company was set up by her for her own convenience. She basically didn't sign artists. Are you sure? That's right. My goddess told me that herself. She even asked you if you wanted to be my manager. Sister Li, are you willing? You were the one who brought me to eat meat and drink soup. Now it's my turn. If you're willing, we can go discuss the contract this afternoon. Li Chai almost dropped the megaphone in her hand. Xiaohua continued, my goddess also said that you know a lot of people. If there are any good seedlings, you can bring them to the company in advance to train. Li Chai felt that she must be dreaming. She, Li Chai, was almost 40 years old, and she actually had such an opportunity. It wasn't that there weren't any extras who had made a name for themselves, but only Xiaohua happily invited her to go with her. Now it was her turn to bring her to eat meat and drink soup. It would be a lie to say that she wasn't touched. Jiang Xiaohua knew that Li Chai should be willing, so she pulled her away. Li Chai finally reacted. I still have something to do here. I have to make arrangements for those people before I go, right? Then let's go together, okay? Jiang Xiaohua said, I'll help you. I know the process. It'll be faster if two people arrange it. Li Chai didn't refuse. She looked at Jiang Xiaohua's energetic appearance. She also had a lot of strength in her body. It seemed that all the small problems in her body had disappeared. Jiang Xiaohua and Li Chai were both signed by Tanghua. As for Tanghua, her scenes were almost finished. The company had people who specialized in training Jiang Xiaohua, so she didn't need to worry too much. At most, she would ask them to train Jiang Xiaohua and Li Chai well. Her company did not lack resources. Once the drama was aired, she could use all her resources to invest in Jiang Xiaohua. She also planned to bring Jiang Xiaohua with her when she was filming in the future to help her get roles. Tanghua requested for one of her artists to try out for one of the roles. If the director was satisfied, then she would use it. If not, then forget it. In the end, of course, the director was satisfied. Jiang Xiaohua was talented and eager to learn. Now that she had been trained systematically, she wouldn't be bad. The only thing she lacked was that she wasn't so lucky. She was missing an opportunity. Unknowingly, it was Chinese New Year again. The news about He Xiaomi looking for her mother on the internet temporarily died down. Recently, there was new news, so the discussion was less. He Xiaomi finished her work and planned to go back to her hometown with the He family. Returning home in glory, she more or less wanted to show off in her heart. Chapter 5200. What are your plans for the new year? Are you going back to your hometown? Tanghua knew about Xiaohua's background, but Xiaohua didn't know that she knew about it, so she asked casually. Jiang Xiaohua was so happy that she could wake up from her dreams. She could see her goddess every day, and she could even play a role with more scenes. She felt that her little house would be settled even sooner. No, maybe she could buy a bigger two-bedroom house? She calculated the money she had earned recently. She could wait a little longer. Maybe she could buy a three-bedroom house. It would be bigger and more comfortable. She could also raise flowers, grass, and pets. Xiaohua shook her head when she heard Tanghua's question. I'll stay here. I won't go back. Doesn't your family talk about it? Xiaohua thought about her family and sighed. My family is complicated. I'm not afraid that you'll laugh at me, Sister Xiaohua. My birth wasn't very glorious. My parents didn't like me. I don't have many complaints about that. I'm fine as long as my life is getting better. I used to complain about why my life was like this. Later, I walked out of that small village and understood many things. One's birth might not change, but everyone has a chance to change their fate. Now, her fate was changing bit by bit. If you don't mind, you can tell me about your situation. If you really can't go back, you can come to my house this year. There aren't many people in my house. It'll be more lively with one more person. Xiaohua was a little shy. Is that really okay? There's nothing wrong with it. Xiaohua. Then I won't stand on ceremony. After that, Jiang Xiaohua started talking about her family. There were some things that she really wanted to share with others. She didn't say much about the He family village. She only said that her mother was abducted to the village and later left. Fortunately, the local government's policy allowed her to go to school. Unfortunately, she didn't live up to expectations. Her grades weren't good, so she couldn't get into university. She overheard that her grandparents and father and stepmother wanted to marry her off to get a rich betrothal gift for her younger brother. Her younger brother was born to her father and stepmother. She didn't want to live like this for the rest of her life, so she ran away at night. If it wasn't for the local policy, I might have been gone when I was born. When Jiang Xiaohua said this, she didn't feel humiliated because this was her past. Now that I've finally made it out, how can I go back? I can't wait for her to hide from them. After I buy a house, I can move my household registration and never see them again. They don't like me. When I was young, they treated me as a servant. When I grew up, they wanted to treat me as a cash cow. There are subsidies for the daughters of every family. The money is not used on me at all. It's all given to my brother. If I go back and they see that I've earned money, they'll definitely suck my blood. If they're angry and dissatisfied with me, they'll point at me and call me a bastard who doesn't have a mother. It's really unpleasant to hear. Tanghua found that Zhang Xiaohua was very calm when she said this. Why don't you look for your biological mother? Zhang Xiaohua shrugged. I thought about it when I was young, but I figured it out over the years. It's better not to look for it. I guess my mother's life back then was worse than a dog's. She probably didn't want to remember what happened in the village. Maybe she's already buried this memory and lived a peaceful life. Why should I disturb her? My existence is because she was forced to. To her, it's hurting. There's really no need. Seeing me will only bring up bad memories. Then come to my house for the new year. Zhang Xiaohua smiled happily and didn't refuse. Speaking of which, she hadn't really celebrated the new year for many years. She had never felt that kind of feeling of home. She was really lucky. Was this considered as happiness after suffering? This kind of life really made people feel that it was perfect. On the other side, He Xiaomi had already returned to He village at the foot of the mountain with the He family's mother and son. The family drove back. There were a total of 3 cars, and the cars were filled with many things. As soon as they entered He village, they attracted the attention of everyone in the village. Peak. Chapter 5201. The He family took a luxurious car back with many bags. When they arrived, the villagers came over to watch. The He family was already prepared and distributed the things to the villagers. The He family village already knew that He Xiaomi was a superstar. She even gave them so many things when she came back. She was so approachable. They discussed in low voices. He Xiaomi was already a superstar, but she still thought of them. She was really not arrogant at all. At this moment, the He family village was lively. He Xiaomi and the villagers got along well. This scene was even taken by someone. These photos might appear on the internet in 2 days. Then, they would be praised by the netizens. Most of these praises were because He Xiaomi was down to earth and had a good relationship with the villagers. Because of He Xiaomi, the He family received the highest treatment in the He family village. The He family mother and son were very happy. The Zhang family also brought their children to receive red packets. They walked in front of He Xiaomi and said many good things. Everyone was smiling and looked very simple. Who would have thought that such a simple and benevolent face would actually have such a dark heart? Your Xiaomi is really promising. She's a superstar now. She's promising and doesn't forget her roots. She's not like our girl. She's been out for so many years, and we don't know where she went. She hasn't even called back. The person who spoke was old Madame Jiang. She and old Madame He usually like to chat. Don't be fooled by her smiling face and kind appearance. In reality, she was very jealous of old Madame He's present situation. Old Madame He knew very well. She only smiled and replied. She praised He Xiaomi and gave old Madame Jiang's village red packets and candies. I don't expect that girl from my family to be as good as your Xiaomi. It's enough if she can be half as good as your Xiaomi. I don't know what she's doing outside. She hasn't contacted me for so many years. Old Madame Jiang was actually jealous. She also complained about Zhang Xiaohua. She was just saying it casually. However, when He Xiaomi heard this, she subconsciously asked, Grandma Jiang, He Xiaomi hasn't been home all these years? She hasn't contacted you? No. She's just a wild girl who doesn't like to go home. She's not as sensible as you. She's rich and successful, but she still doesn't forget about home. Old Madame Jiang said. The rest of the Jiang family members were also whispering about Zhang Xiaohua not going back for so many years. He Xiaomi said, Actually, I met Zhang Xiaohua before. She seems to be doing well now. I didn't expect her to not come home. Everyone in the Jiang family was shocked. Then, they quickly asked He Xiaomi where she had met Zhang Xiaohua and what had happened to her. He Xiaomi didn't think too much about it. Since she had met Zhang Xiaohua and the Zhang family was asking about it, She couldn't possibly not tell them, right? Jiang Xiaohua had been away for so many years, but he had never come home. He had never even called. It was indeed a little unreasonable. Thus, she told him about Jiang Xiaohua's whereabouts. She told him everything she knew. When the Jiang family heard that Jiang Xiaohua was working as an extra, they felt embarrassed. One was a big star, and the other was a small extra. Why was the difference so big? When he heard that Jiang Xiaohua was saving up for a down payment and was planning to buy a house in that city, he couldn't control his greed. How much would it cost to buy a house in the city? This Jiang Xiaohua actually wanted to buy a house secretly without contacting her family. She really didn't treat her as a member of the Jiang family and didn't think of her brother at all, right? Vertex. Chapter 5202. In fact, Mrs. Jiang didn't believe it. She joked, "What ability does that girl have? How much money can she make? How can she buy a house?" She grabbed it. "At least tens of thousands of yuan a month. It's possible to save for a few years to buy a house," Jiang Xiaohua said. Although she didn't care about tens of thousands of yuan a month, she couldn't express it. She said it in a good tone, so there was nothing wrong with it. However, she didn't know that the Jiang family had an idea when they heard that Jiang Xiaohua could make tens of thousands of yuan a month. Then they asked He Xiaomi a series of questions. After a long time, they left reluctantly. At the beginning of spring, the He family left again. After all, she still had a job and her career was rising now. After the new year, Jiang Xiaohua was ready to buy a house. Because she followed Tanghua and made a lot of money, it was no problem for her to pay the down payment for a 3-bedroom house. She wanted a house of her own so much that she started to look for houses at the beginning of the new year. She wasn't so busy during this period. He Xiaomi had returned to the city to work. However, in less than 2 months, the Jiang family went to find her with a lot of money. When she was in the village, the Jiang family tried their best to find out about her situation. They even left their contact information with the He family. Now, the Jiang family was living in He Xiaomi's house. He Xiaomi looked at the noisy house, the He family's mother and son who smiled very proudly, and the Jiang family's envious eyes. In fact, she didn't welcome the villagers to her house as she had imagined. Therefore, after figuring out why the Jiang family came to the city, she actively helped them to contact Jiang Xiaohua. She regretted that she didn't leave Jiang Xiaohua's contact information last time. Otherwise, she wouldn't have to ask the staff to find her. However, after half a day, the staff told her that Jiang Xiaohua was no longer in the original place. She had signed a contract with a company. If there was no mistake, Jiang Xiaohua's TV series would be broadcast after a while. The first one to be broadcast would be Su Qingqing's character, and then the others. He Xiaomi was a little shocked after hearing it. She asked the staff to contact Jiang Xiaohua, but the staff said that Jiang Xiaohua couldn't be contacted now. Why can't you contact her? Is she abroad? No, Jiang Xiaohua is currently participating in a closed-off reality show. It's estimated that she'll be there for half a year. Based on the past, unless Jiang Xiaohua withdraws herself, no one will be able to contact her for the next 6 months. If you want to see her, you can only do it on the screen. He Xiaomi knew which reality show it was. She opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. Why did Jiang Xiaohua suddenly stand out? Originally, Jiang Xiaohua was thinking about buying a house, but Tanghua found out that the Jiang family had entered the city. She saw that the reality show was recruiting new contestants, so she decided to send Jiang Xiaohua in. He even told Jiang Xiaohua that if he could enter the top 3 on this show, he would get a lot of money. At that time, not to mention a 3-bedroom villa, even the down payment for a villa would not be a problem. Jiang Xiaohua was tempted when she heard that. She was packed up by Tanghua on the same day. As for whether the Jiang family would stay in He Xiaomi's house for the next 6 months, she didn't know. That was He Xiaomi's business. He Xiaomi told the Jiang family about Jiang Xiaohua's situation. They were very unhappy and started to scold Jiang Xiaohua in front of He Xiaomi. "Then we'll wait, old madam," he said. "Isn't it half a year? Then we'll see her in half a year." Under He Xiaomi's reluctance, the He family warmly invited the Jiang family to stay. Chapter 5203. He Xiaomi didn't expect the Jiang family to be so thick-skinned that they would stay at her house for half a year. For the sake of her reputation, she really couldn't say anything. After this family moved in, it was as if they were royalty. Fortunately, she had the money to hire a helper, otherwise, it might have been even worse. The He family's mother and son did not feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, they were very happy. They were not asked to pay, nor did they have to put in any effort. Every day, someone would serve them with food and drink, and they could even make the Jiang family jealous. During this period, another thing happened. The paparazzi had been squatting at He Xiaomi's place and reported that a mysterious man had moved into He Xiaomi's mansion. Later, He Xiaomi clarified that she was a villager from the same village and had come to the city to stay for a while. Hence, there were many good comments about He Xiaomi online. Everyone felt that she was too down-to-earth. To seize Jiang Xiaohua finally came out. He Xiaomi had asked someone to keep an eye on her. After knowing that Jiang Xiaohua had returned to her place, she brought the Jiang family to look for Jiang Xiaohua the next day. She did not call to inform her because she was afraid that Jiang Xiaohua would avoid the Jiang family. She did not know how long the Jiang family would stay in her house. The moment the Jiang family saw Jiang Xiaohua, old Madame Jiang subconsciously wanted to pull Jiang Xiaohua's ear, but she remembered that He Xiaomi and the others were still there. Jiang Xiaohua also saw He Xiaomi. How could she not know that the Jiang family was brought here by He Xiaomi? This time, it was because He Xiaomi was too anxious that she had no choice but to bring him over personally. Cuckoo when both sides met, He Xiaomi found an excuse and left with the He family's mother and son. She said that she wanted to give both sides some time to spend together. Jiang Xiaohua would be the one to decide where the Jiang family would live in the future. It had nothing to do with her. After the He family left, old Madame Jiang wanted to slap Jiang Xiaohua, but Jiang Xiaohua dodged quickly and avoided it. Then, the Jiang family started to quarrel and complain. They scolded Jiang Xiaohua for being unfilial and not thinking about his family. Jiang Xiaohua was used to seeing their faces. After she couldn't take it anymore, she called the security guards to ask them to leave. Only then did it become much quieter. At this moment, the Jiang family was unwilling to accept it. They all saw that Jiang Xiaohua was different now that she was rich. He Xiaomi also told them that Jiang Xiaohua should be able to earn a lot of money now. No matter what, they had to get the money from Jiang Xiaohua. They didn't know what it meant to suppress people with public opinion, but they knew how to get Jiang Xiaohua back. This was what they had been doing since the beginning. Abducting another family's people was punishable by imprisonment. It shouldn't be a problem to bring his own people back, right? The Jiang family immediately contacted those they knew and asked them to help bring Jiang Xiaohua back to the village. These movements were all under Tanghua's nose. Originally, she had planned to hire 2 bodyguards to protect Jiang Xiaohua. Later on, he thought that if Little Flower Jiang became slightly famous, the marketing accounts might write nonsense. At that time, Little Flower Jiang would bear the reputation of being unfilial and forgetting his roots. The netizens didn't care what the truth was. They would only believe what they wanted to believe. First of all, the Jiang family lived at the foot of the mountain. If they came all the way here to look for Jiang Xiaohua, they could pin the blame on Xiaohua Jiang. Therefore, she chose to wait for Jiang Xiaohua to be abducted by them. The Jiang family would at most starve Jiang Xiaohua for a while. She could just bring people to save her in time. At that time, she would also make He family village famous and take revenge for both old and new grudges. She was waiting for Jiang Xiaohua to go missing. She would ask the company to call the police and release a notice to inform the netizens that Jiang Xiaohua was missing. Chapter 5204. The Jiangs didn't disappoint Tanghua. In less than 2 days, Jiang Xiaohua was dragged into a van. Jiang Xiaohua had some kung fu, but it was mostly used for filming. It wasn't real kung fu. Facing a few strong men, she still couldn't defend herself. Before she could struggle, she was dragged into the van. Then, the van drove in the direction of He village. Jiang Xiaohua didn't expect that she would be dragged into the van. She just wanted to go out to buy groceries to cook at home. She couldn't break free no matter how hard she tried. The other party was good at tying people up. Jiang Xiaohua was on vacation for the past 2 days, so the assistant didn't go to her place. Grab and seize after 2 days, the assistant contacted Zhang Xiaohua because she was going to do the next step of her work. However, when she arrived at Zhang Xiaohua's place, she found that Zhang Xiaohua was missing. At first, the assistant didn't think much of it. Later, she couldn't contact Zhang Xiaohua, so she told the company about it. Tangwa didn't tell the company about it. The company immediately arranged for people to contact Zhang Xiaohua, but they couldn't reach her. Then, they realized that the matter was serious. They contacted Tangwa and wanted to ask if Zhang Xiaohua was at Tangwa's place. Tangwa said that Zhang Xiaohua said that she was going to rest at home for 2 days. Then, everyone was sure that Zhang Xiaohua might be missing. Coincidentally, Zhang Xiaohua's drama with Su Qingqing's character was going to be aired today. This character existed as soon as she appeared. Tangwa's role in the drama was eye-catching. At the same time, Zhang Xiaohua's elegance was not ignored. This unfamiliar face entered the public's attention. The audience had already started to discuss Zhang Xiaohua. The company was preparing to promote Zhang Xiaohua, but now that Zhang Xiaohua was missing, they were not in the mood to do that. They quickly called the police to find her. Not long after, someone broke the news that an actress in a popular drama was missing. They had called the police, but she hadn't been found yet. Then, everyone ran to take a look at the cast list. At first, no one paid attention to Zhang Xiaohua. After confirming the other actresses, they found that they were all there. In the end, they finally realized that there was still Zhang Xiaohua who played Su Qingqing. When they found Little Flower Zhang's social media account, they realized that it was cold and empty. Because of Su Qingqing's character, they did not hesitate to follow her. Only then did they realize that Little Flower Zhang would post her winter from time to time. It had been 3 days since she posted anything. Moreover, all the other actors had posted updates about the drama's broadcast, except for Zhang Xiaohua. Not long after, Zhang Xiaohua's disappearance became a hot topic. Some people thought that this was just a publicity stunt by the company. Later, when they saw that the police had proven that this was the truth, they began to worry. Especially when they saw the trailer at the end. Some of Flower Zhang's new fans were worried to death. Then, the entire internet was looking for Zhang Xiaohua. Chased after because the police had already taken over the case. Everyone who had been in contact with Zhang Xiaohua would be investigated, including He Xiaomi. When the police found He Xiaomi, she was filming on set. He Xiaomi didn't pay much attention to the news. She was also surprised to hear that Zhang Xiaohua was missing. She told him about her whereabouts that day and how she brought the Zhang family to look for He Xiaomi. She did not hide anything. After the police's investigation, they concluded that Zhang Xiaohua's disappearance might have something to do with the Zhang family. At this time, Tangwa also revealed a very important piece of news to the police. Chapter 5205. The information that Tangwa revealed to the police was the conversation she had with Zhang Xiaohua. Of course, she was more specific. It's very likely that the Zhang family has something to do with it. Please investigate it as soon as possible. I'm afraid that she might be in danger. When the police found out about the He family village, they immediately checked the He family village's information. It was all public information. Soon, they found out that the He family village was really like that in the past. The sooner they solved the missing Zhang Xiaohua's case, the better. Seize. Tangwa went with them. Before she left, she asked Zhua Yi to go with her. She wanted to finish the draft before the matter was solved. Zhua Yi was enlightened when he saw that the He family village was involved. He was wondering why Tangwa would help Zhang Xiaohua for no reason. It turned out that Zhang Xiaohua was also from the He family village. She didn't want the He family village to be peaceful at all. She planned to dig up the He family village's old scores. When the time came, things would be more interesting. The group of people rushed to the He family village. Tangwa asked Zhua Yi to spread some news that Zhang Xiaohua might have been taken away by the Zhang family. She asked Zhua Yi to pretend to be a paparazzi and dig up Zhang Xiaohua's background. This was the only way for Zhang Xiaohua to solve the problem once and for all. It would completely eliminate the possibility of the Zhang family sucking her blood. When the netizens saw the news that Zhua Yi exposed, they were all doubting the authenticity of the news. If it was true, Zhang Xiaohua was too pitiful. At this time, someone revealed that the police really went to the He family village. It was said that the famous celebrity, Tangwa, also went there. This attracted a lot of attention. Why did Tanghua go there? It turned out that Zhang Xiaohua was an artist in her company. Zhang Xiaohua would have many dramas and a reality TV show soon. This time, the whole internet was really nervous. Under the anticipation of the netizens, some reporters even followed them and filmed it live. It could be said that the whole internet was looking for Zhang Xiaohua. When they saw that Tanghua and the police went to the He family village, they were stopped. The villagers set up all kinds of roadblocks and didn't cooperate at all. It was an eye-opener for them. Then, a reporter who was doing the live broadcast said, "It's said that the people in this place all migrated from the mountains. It was originally a village of human trafficking." These were all facts. There was no need to cover them up. The reporters were not afraid of being beaten. The netizens came to a sudden realization and then began to curse. Tanghua also brought a lot of bodyguards with her. She directly blocked the village fans and rushed in with her people. The reporters who were following them also quickly chased after them. This was first-hand news. The Zhang family also knew that someone had found it and didn't want them to go in. Ding 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 shi. However, Zhang Xiaohua had already heard the commotion and was shouting in the house. This time, Tanghua didn't hold back anymore. She ordered people to break down the door and barge in. Her actions seemed very violent, but the internet was full of praise. The reporter's camera turned to Zhang Xiaohua's hut. The door was smashed open, and it was pitch black inside. Zhang Xiaohua was indeed inside. He looked extremely miserable, and his feet were actually chained up. Everyone was furious when they saw this. To think that such a thing would actually happen in the current situation. Zhang Xiaohua was still a public figure, which was why she was saved in time. If she was a normal person, would she have the power to save her immediately? Zhang Xiaohua was indeed frightened. She almost compromised and gave all the money to the Zhang family. She did not expect that Tanghua and the police would come at this time. Chapter 5206. Sister Xiaoguo. The moment Zhang Xiaohua saw Tanghua, she didn't care about the chains wrapped around her ankles. She quickly rushed to her, hugged Tanghua, and cried, "System. Actually, the host is younger than Zhang Xiaohua. Do you feel like you're being called old? Are you saying that I'm old?" No. The host is immortal. How can you be old?" The system quickly left. It was not needed here for the time being. It was better not to make the host unhappy. At this time, the netizens who were watching the live broadcast saw Zhang Xiaohua's embarrassed appearance and started to discuss it. They had clearly seen the bad attitudes of the villagers of He family village and the Zhang family. Just before the door opened, someone exposed the situation on the internet. The informant claimed to be from the He family village. Because he did not like the behavior of some people in the He family village, he talked about the Zhang family's situation. Of course, this informant was Zhua Yi. Tanghua had asked him to do this. After Zhua Yi exposed the Zhang family's purpose, the netizens were in an uproar. They were wondering what was going on. They did not expect it to be a very common case, but this case involved a public figure. If this person was not Zhang Xiaohua, no one would look for her. In the end, they did not know what would happen to Zhang Xiaohua. Would she compromise? Or would she do something with unpredictable consequences? No matter what the result was, it would not be good. "It's okay. We're here to get you out. This will not happen again." Tanghua comforted Zhang Xiaohua. She took the tissue from her assistant and wiped the tears on her face. "Next, you need to pull yourself together and tell the police what happened to you. They will help you." Zhang Xiaohua was stunned for a moment. Only then did she see rows of people standing outside the door, looking very energetic. For the convenience of their work, they were wearing casual clothes. However, from their appearance, one could see that they had a different temperament. Zhang Xiaohua's fear disappeared instantly. Looking at this group of people who came to look for her, she felt safe. This matter has to be resolved eventually. This time, you are trapped here for no reason. No matter who they are, they have restricted your personal freedom. This is against the law. Zhang Xiaohua could not hold back her tears anymore. Actually, she was not a person who liked to cry. She had always been very strong. It wasn't easy for her to survive in this world. Since the day she was sensible, she knew that there was no one she could rely on. She had to work hard for everything. Therefore, she had already learned not to cry no matter what happened. No matter how difficult or tiring it was, she would never cry. Seeing so many people willing to help her, she couldn't help but cry out loud. Sister Xiaogua, I don't want to come back here ever again. I want to sue them. Chapter 5207. In the future, when you have a family, your brother can also take care of you so that you won't be bullied. In the end, you're a heartless and ungrateful person. You're not even willing to take care of your brother. In the future, no one will take care of you and give you support. If only you could be half as filial as He Xiaomi. The netizens were stunned. He Xiaomi? Right, He Xiaomi seemed to be from this village too. For a moment, they were confused, but soon, their attention was attracted by Jiang Xiaohua. Old Lady Jiang couldn't help but curse. She wasn't afraid of these people. When these people came in just now, they didn't dare to touch them at all. After being pushed away, these people hit and smashed her door. Now, they even wanted to instigate Jiang Xiaohua to sue them. In their dreams, even the most shameless people in the village would stay far away from her when they met her. What were these outsiders? Jiang Xiaohua was full of anger after being scolded by Old Lady Jiang. She said loudly, "When did this family raise me? My biological mother raised me until I was 2 years old. After she left, the village moved to the foot of the mountain. Every day, you yelled that I was a good-for-nothing and wanted to drown me in the Yin Pond. Don't think that I'm young and can't remember these. I remember these clearly. I haven't forgotten a single word. Later, you were afraid that I would really drown and be arrested and imprisoned, so you planned to send me away. At this time, every family with a daughter would receive a considerable amount of subsidies. You were the ones who supported you when you were old. After receiving the subsidies, you were very lucky that you didn't send me away. If the school didn't force every girl in the village to receive compulsory education, I might not be able to go to school even though my grades weren't good. Even so, I started doing all kinds of housework at home when I was 5 years old. As long as I was at home, I didn't have any free time. How can you say that you were the ones who raised me? Why didn't I know?" Jiang Xiaohua was really angry because of this matter. She told them everything that had happened to her since she was young. The netizens who were watching the live broadcast listened to Jiang Xiaohua's experience of working as an adult and being caught by them when she was just about to make a name for herself. They really did not expect that in this era, there would be such a tragic person like Jiang Xiaohua. All right, let's go back to the police station. After Jiang Xiaohua finished speaking, the police officers saw that her emotions had stabilized, so they spoke. Jiang Xiaohua also felt much more comfortable in her heart. Now, she finally didn't have to be afraid of anything. Being kidnapped this time really wasn't a bad thing. Now that everyone knew what kind of life she had in the Jiang family, she didn't have to be afraid that someone would use this matter to spread rumors. After that, the Jiang family members were also taken away. Those who participated in the kidnapping of Jiang Xiaohua were also not left behind. Leave everything to the company. Now, you should eat something simple and take a rest. Sister Xiaogua, thank you. Jiang Xiaohua was really tired. She casually ate some food and fell asleep in the car. The people from the Jiang family who were involved in the kidnapping of Jiang Xiaohua were all arrested. Next, they would face prosecution. This was a case that they would definitely win. Although they would not be locked up for long, at least they would be taught a lesson. In the future, they would not use morality to kidnap Jiang Xiaohua. The law might not be able to determine that Jiang Xiaohua was no longer related to them, but Jiang Xiaohua would no longer be bound by them. Chapter 5208. Using this opportunity, Tanghua even asked the company to help Jiang Xiaohua change her household registration. Now, the Jiang family was even more helpless. However, this matter was not over yet. While everything was going on in real life, the internet was in an uproar. Zhua Yi, who pretended to be an informant at the last minute, exposed a lot of things about the He family village on the internet. The netizens were shocked. Many people sympathized with Jiang Xiaohua's experience, especially the scene in the live broadcast room that day. In just a few days, they could not believe that the person who portrayed Su Qingqing would be in such a sorry state. There was no light in that room, but she had stayed in there for so long. She was even locked up and probably did not have enough to eat. She was too pitiful. The He family village was greatly affected because of this incident. Recently, many people came to the He family village to do interviews. It seriously disturbed their lives. Facing this, the He family village was a little disgusted with the Jiang family. They could not even handle their own problems and had implicated all of them. But the people here were very difficult to deal with. Not many of them were easy to get along with. They were also very barbaric. The interviewers did not dare to be too aggressive. They were afraid that they would be beaten up. The netizens watched the video of the live broadcast repeatedly. Then, they found out that Elder Jiang had mentioned He Xiaomi. Then, many people went to ask He Xiaomi if she knew about this incident. He Xiaomi gave a very official response. Someone took the lead and said that they did not want to disturb He Xiaomi. They could only let this matter go. Actually, some people even went to ask He Xiaomi if she should explain why her mother had abandoned her. They were implying that her mother had been abducted and sold here before she ran away. If that was the case, then He Xiaomi and the He family's previous actions were more or less disgusting. It was normal for a child to want to find her mother, but if they deliberately twisted the truth, then the meaning was different. But these netizens' words disappeared as soon as they were posted. They tried to post them everywhere, but they disappeared as soon as they were posted. Actually, the system had detected that someone was digging up this matter and told Tanghua about it. Tanghua felt that it was not good for Che Ruoqian to expose it at this time. After all, He Xiaomi had not said anything about her biological mother in front of the public. She didn't want the truth and public opinion to push He Xiaomi into making a compromise. She believed that He Xiaomi's company would definitely do that. No one suspected Che Ruoqian yet. If this matter was not exposed for the rest of her life, it would be fine. But she believed that it was impossible. The He family village's incident soon subsided. There were so many people in the country, but there weren't many people who could talk about it on the internet every day. Even though the previous He family village was infuriating, it was only lively for a few days before it gradually died down. Needless to say, it affected He Xiaomi. Basically, there was no discussion about her and the He family village. Of course, this was also the result of He Xiaomi's company's public relations. They led the matter to other places and brought out some things in the industry one after another, causing the majority of netizens to quickly forget about He Xiaomi. As for He Xiaomi, she was currently working hard. The Jiang family could not disturb her now. She did not have to look at the noisy home every day. She felt much better. It was just that her grandmother and father were a little annoying. They insisted on her help to see if she could get the Jiang family to come out earlier. They said that there was no bail or anything like that now. Chapter 5209. It took He Xiaomi a lot of persuasion to persuade them. She didn't have the right to do that. If she did, she would become the enemy of the whole country and her future would be ruined. In the end, she said that she would run out of money in the future. Jiang Xiaohua rested for a whole month before she went back to work. When she saw the number of fans she had, she was a little confused. She had never seen so many fans on other accounts. First, she sent a status stating that she had recovered and could start working and starting a new life. Then she received a lot of comforting and blessings. Looking at the comments that popped up every second, she couldn't help but tear up again. She didn't know why, but ever since her luck got better, she couldn't help but want to cry. He Xiaomi's problem was completely solved, so Tanghua stopped paying attention to her. As for He Xiaomi's future, she had a very mature team in her company, which was enough. It's really strange. What's strange? Tanghua drank the fragrant coffee and answered Zhuayi's question. She saw that he was staring at the computer screen as if there was a puzzle that he couldn't solve. Did you encounter any difficulties? A little. There's something very strange. I thought that Mrs. Tang's matter might be exposed because of this, but I didn't expect that there would be no ripples on the internet. Tanghua understood. Wasn't she the one who asked Tongzi to do this? Maybe the public relations of He Xiaomi's company prepared in advance. There have been a lot of things happening recently, but there's nothing at all. It's still a little strange. Did Su Qing use his family's power? Isn't it good that it's not exposed? Tangwa said, don't think about it blindly. If it's really exposed, you'll be in a mess and won't be able to sleep well. Zhui thought that he also couldn't sleep well every day. Tangwa went to work every day, and he had to be a staff member every day. It was so tiring. He was supposed to be a brain worker, but he had become a physical worker. The following days were quite peaceful. Jiang Xiaohua worked hard to improve herself, and He Xiaomi focused on her career. Tangwa did as usual. She didn't steal He Xiaomi's role on purpose, unless she happened to meet her or was invited by the director. Little Flower Jiang's talent wasn't any worse than He Xiaomi's. In fact, Little Flower Jiang was more professional than He Xiaomi. As for He Xiaomi, she seemed to have been labeled as a simple girl since her debut. Now, it was really hard to get rid of this label. She couldn't go overboard with her disguises and actions, which were very restrictive to her. He Xiaomi had Su Qing behind her, and the bottleneck was only a matter of time. Later, Su Qing specially planned a movie to change He Xiaomi's image. He Xiaomi also used this movie to win the Best Actress award. The label of a simple girl was finally torn off. The Jiang family had been released a long time ago. Although they were still unwilling, they couldn't see Jiang Xiaohua at all. Instead, they would go to He Xiaomi's house from time to time to eat and drink. The He family's mother and son didn't mind. They generously shared it with the Jiang family. As for He Dijin, he often used He Xiaomi's money to visit prostitutes and gamble. However, he was still a coward and did not gamble much. Compared to gambling, he preferred women. The Jiang family looked at the He family's mother and son's life with envy. The two families had been in contact for a long time. One day, old Madam He mentioned He Xiaomi's mother to old Madam Jiang. In fact, the two of them talked about Jiang Xiaohua's mother. Chapter 52:10. You mean, they found her? Old Madam Jiang was surprised. Then why didn't they bring her back? Old Madam He rolled her eyes. Can they bring her back if they don't have a marriage certificate? Besides, even if they brought her back, can she give birth to a son for our He family? We're already so old. If we want to find someone, we have to find someone young and fertile. That's true. Old Madam Jiang quickly nodded. Oh right. Did your Xiaomi make a fuss about finding someone? Of course not. But she's a rich wife now. We can't match up to her. She was even chased out. That family is very fierce. We can't even get in. It's just that the security guards there look down on us. They don't treat us as humans and look down on us. Old Madam He then complained. They don't want to acknowledge her. What can we do? They even use the past to threaten us. Your Xiaomi is also pitiful. Old Madam Jiang sighed. This child is obedient and pitiful. Her biological mother doesn't even acknowledge her. You have to take good care of her. Don't mistreat her. Of course, there aren't many children who can be as sensible as our Xiaomi. Old Madam He was well aware of this. She was glad that she didn't kill He Xiaomi back then. Oh right, you said that Xiaomi's mother is a rich wife now. Which rich wife is it? Old Madam He asked about this later. She ran directly to He Xiaomi's study and found Che Ruoqian's information and address. Old Madam He also introduced her to Old Madam Jiang in detail. Old Madam Jiang couldn't forget it even if she wanted to. Originally, when the two of them discussed this, it was just a casual conversation. They were bored and didn't take it to heart. However, Old Madam Jiang liked to tell the villagers things that others didn't know. After she got the news, she went home and told her son. As a result, her son and his wife found out about this matter. The couple didn't care too much and just took out their phones to search. In the end, they saw Che Ruoqian's information. Under Che Ruoqian's encyclopedia, there was also Tang Tianxua and Tanggua's information. When they saw Tanggua, the two of them looked at each other with disgust in their eyes. If Tanggua didn't bring people to find Jiang Xiaohua, they wouldn't have been imprisoned. Although it hadn't been long, they were still resentful. This is big news. Recently, I heard from Mom that the He family's mother and son sold news to the media before. They can make a lot of money. The Jiang family's daughter-in-law said, "Do you think we should try?" Both of them were greedy. They immediately decided to try to contact He Xiaomi's biological mother. Back then, Xiaomi had made such a big fuss about it that everyone in the village knew about it. The two of them hit the nail on the head. This media company happened to be digging up this matter. In the end, he used 10,000 yuan to buy the identity of Xiaomi's mother. The two of them had no idea how much this information could be sold for. In their opinion, 10,000 yuan was already a lot. However, he didn't know that such explosive news was worth more than 10,000 yuan. In the past few days, Tangwa had noticed that someone had been lurking near her house. She knew that Che Ruoqian's identity had been exposed. She told Tang Tianxua about this matter. Just as she finished talking, Zhui called to remind her of this matter. They didn't hide this matter from Che Ruoqian and told her the truth. "Don't worry, I can face it." Che Ruoqian smiled and comforted the two of them. She had calmed down these days. She had to face the past sooner or later. What was to come would come. A few days later, the family Tang received a call from a media company. The other party said a lot and finally offered 100 million yuan. As long as the family Tang agreed, they would never report this matter. However, the family Tang refused. The peak. Chapter 52:11. The media outlet that controlled Che Ruoqian's secret did not expect family Tang to not take the bait. At first, they thought they had made a mistake, so they checked again. Because they had confirmed their target, it was much easier to investigate. Soon, they found out that Che Ruoqian had disappeared for 2 years. After checking the time, they knew their information was correct. Then, why didn't family Tang take the bait? Did they think they had no evidence? The media company continued to search for clues before they gave the Tang family a phone call and confirmed that they knew about Che Ruoqian's secret. If they didn't have any sincerity, then if this matter was exposed, it would have a huge impact on Tangkor. If this matter was exposed, the news of Che Ruoqian refusing to acknowledge her daughter would spread all over the world. One was one of the owners of Tangkor, and the other was a popular celebrity. The fate of the two were so intertwined, they believed the netizens would be interested. If this news was exposed, the entire industry would probably explode. Tang Tianxua, you people really like to create strange news. If you continue to disturb us, I will sue you for slander. Tangwa's response was, your news is complete nonsense. As a media outlet, I sincerely advise you to be in a good position. Spreading rumors will result in legal consequences. Che Ruoqian also responded to the media. I hope you can speak with facts. It's best if you don't make up groundless rumors. The three responses had been planned from the start. Faced with family Tang's attitude, the media outlet finally couldn't take it anymore and decided to expose the news. However, in order to attract the netizens and teach family Tang a lesson, they decided to expose the news bit by bit. On the first day, they used a marketing account to release a teaser. They said that in the near future, there would be a big news that would shake the entertainment and business industry. It was guaranteed to make everyone's jaws drop. After releasing the teaser, they began to manipulate the situation to hype up the teaser. A large number of paid posters flooded into various forums to give the netizens the illusion that something big was about to happen. In the past, as long as they released a teaser for a celebrity or business figure, the other party would eagerly spend money to buy out the news. Usually, this kind of news would make them a lot of money. Once they opened their business, they could eat for a year. However, this time, there was still no movement from the family Tang. In the first 2 or 3 days, the netizens were looking forward to the appearance of the big news, but the netizens' enthusiasm was limited, and they were soon attracted by other things. At this moment, they knew that it was time to add another stab. They made another announcement, saying that this gossip was about a certain business tycoon who was actually married for the second time and had a child with someone else before he got married. Sure enough, once this trailer was released, it created another wave of hype. The family Tang did not make any moves. A few days later, they released a notice again, indicating that the child was not acknowledged by the big boss in the business circle. They did not acknowledge him even when they went to him. They also revealed that the child was now an actor and was quite famous. This time, the melon seemed to have matured. The netizens' enthusiasm for watching the drama gradually increased, and some people began to become impatient. They scolded the person who broke the news as if he was constipated. It was always coming out little by little, and it was very uncomfortable. Vertex. Chapter 52:12. While the netizens were in high spirits, the person who leaked the news continued to release the news. This time, it was a big news. After a while, the news reached the top of the trending list. The latest news was that the actress who wasn't acknowledged by her mother was He Xiaomi. The trending topic was He Xiaomi's mother. This matter had been discussed by many netizens a long time ago. At that time, there was no conclusion. Now, someone had been brewing for so many days, and this was the result. This time, everyone felt that they would know who He Xiaomi's mother was. Not long after that day, He Xiaomi's social media account was flooded. Her fans quickly rushed over to comfort her and feel sorry for her, especially those mother fans. They queued up and said that although Xiaomi wasn't as doted on by her mother, they would definitely dote on her more than her mother. He Xiaomi was stunned. She didn't expect that she would be involved in this. Xiaomi, you can do it. Mommy will always love you. Xiaomi, don't cry. There are many mothers who like you. Our Xiaomi is so obedient. If that person doesn't acknowledge you, it's that person's loss. Facing the situation that had gone out of control, He Xiaomi's company was a little troubled. He Xiaomi's manager immediately called He Xiaomi to confirm whether she had really been abandoned or not. After getting He Xiaomi's confirmation, the manager was relieved. Then there's no problem. This matter won't affect you much. It's most likely that someone wants to drag her down. Maybe they're her opponent. Then what should I do? What do you want to do? He Xiaomi paused and said, I don't know what to do either. Actually, you don't have to do anything now. You just have to stay silent. Your fans, as well as the bystanders, will automatically come up with the plot they want. When this matter is exposed, you can speak from the perspective of an abandoned child. This is what the netizens want to see the most. Okay, I understand. The manager hesitated and asked, Xiaomi, have you ever hated your biological mother? Why are you suddenly asking this? He Xiaomi was nervous. Not hate? How is that possible? They were both daughters, but she was abandoned and left in a small village. On the other hand, Tanghua could be the daughter of a rich family since she was a child. When she was born, she was surrounded by stars. When she debuted, she was at the peak and received all kinds of resources. If she hadn't met Su Qing, she wouldn't have known where she would be working. She wanted to acknowledge her mother, just like everyone else. She wanted to call her mother, but that person wasn't willing to fulfill her small request. If this matter is really exposed, Xiaomi, you just need to show your true emotions. Remember, your background, your image, and your persona mean that you can express your views straightforwardly. As long as you really express it, the netizens will automatically help you fill in the rest of the plot. Although the exposure of this matter will have a great impact on you, the impact is good. After the manager finished speaking, she added, This is the company's idea. The higher-ups all think that this is a good opportunity. Of course, they also said that if you don't want to, they can use other methods. Ordinary female artists didn't receive such treatment. It was only because they knew He Xiaomi and had been instructed by Su Qing to take care of her that they would consult He Xiaomi's opinion on many matters. He Xiaomi said without hesitation, Let's do as the company says. Vertex. Chapter 52:13. He Xiaomi's manager expressed her understanding. Then, she replied to the company and prepared for the next step. He Xiaomi couldn't calm down. She kept scrolling through her phone and looking at the various speculations of the netizens. At this moment, she was actually wondering if Che Ruoqian would panic when she saw the news. The family Tang couldn't eat or sleep at this moment. They asked people to think of a way to suppress this matter. At this moment, Su Qing's call came. Snatch. Someone should know about your relationship with Madame Che. This matter is very big. It can't be hidden anymore. He Xiaomi. Will the family Tang use their power to suppress this matter? Things have already come to this point. I'm afraid there's no way to suppress it. Su Qing suddenly said, If you don't want this matter to be exposed, I can ask people to suppress these negative comments and stop them from discussing this matter. If the family Tang does their best and I help, there's still a chance to suppress it. Let nature take its course. That's too much trouble for you. Actually, I also want to see what she'll do after this matter is exposed. Do I really let her feel that I'm a daughter who can't be exposed? Since someone knows about this matter and wants to expose it, why should I go through so much trouble to stop it? If I really stop it, I'm afraid she won't be grateful at all. She'll think that I'm doing something unnecessary. She'll feel uncomfortable just looking at me. Bao Lai. After He Xiaomi said that, her tone suddenly changed. Su Qing, do you think that I'm very bad? No. Isn't this normal? Everyone has emotions. Moreover, this matter has nothing to do with you. You just didn't stop it. Su Qing comforted her. He had already decided that not only would he not stop it, but he would also add fuel to the fire and make Che Ruoqian regret it. Xiaomi was such a good girl. How could she hurt her like that? This time, the popularity did not die down for a few days. Many people went to He Xiaomi's Weibo, hoping that He Xiaomi would expose her heartless mother and stop covering up for her. Yes, in the eyes of the netizens, He Xiaomi didn't say anything because she didn't want this matter to be blown up. She was still thinking about her biological mother. She was such a kind and innocent girl who was considerate of her biological mother. When the two were compared, it was immediately obvious who was better. You've made such a big fuss. Do you not have the confidence to clean up the mess? Tanghua looked at Zhua Yi's furrowed brows as he stared at the computer screen. The corners of her mouth curved upwards. Tangkor doesn't pay you a salary for you to freeload. If you don't handle this matter well, not only will your reputation be ruined, you will also lose your job. Zhua Yi rubbed his forehead. Did your family offend someone? The matter this time is very aggressive, and a lot of water armies have recently poured in. This matter is very troublesome. No confidence. No, of course there is. I'm just thinking about how to minimize the damage. Fortunately, you have the foreshadowing of the He family village. Otherwise, things wouldn't be so easy. In this regard, Zhua Yi was not afraid. It was just that this was the first time he faced such a big scene. Tanghua put down the coffee cup, stood up, passed by Zhua Yi's side. Slender fingers on his shoulder gently patted twice. Come on. After that, she swaggered off, not even giving Zhua Yi a glimpse of her back. Zhua Yi could tell that Tanghua was rejoicing in his misfortune. She should be the anxious one, right? How strange. Why wasn't she anxious at all? She has no other children. Tanghua frowned. Nowadays, these marketing accounts are always. Chapter 52:16. He Xiaomi's team was smart. They didn't ask He Xiaomi to express her opinion. Because He Xiaomi and Che Ruoqian were mother and daughter, if He Xiaomi said that Che Ruoqian was good, it would be a lie. If He Xiaomi said that Che Ruoqian wasn't good, some moral guardians would say that she was unfilial. Hence, not responding was the best solution. The netizens could use the information in front of them to fill in the gaps and categorize He Xiaomi as the weak party. This was also because Che Ruoqian's identity wasn't simple. She wasn't a rich lady. She was a typical career woman. She often brought her team to promote the company's products and projects. To He Xiaomi, she was the strong party. Since ancient times, humans had always been biased towards the weak. If Che Ruoqian was just a woman from an ordinary family, or if her life wasn't smooth sailing, the netizens would probably criticize He Xiaomi. This was because people could always find the weak side in her and sympathize with her. Then, they would suppress the strong side to satisfy their desires. Now, the netizens weren't just scolding Che Ruoqian. Some people even mentioned that the He family village's previous incarnation was a hot topic because of Jiang Xiaohua. Since He Xiaomi grew up in the He family village, could it be that Che Ruoqian was kidnapped there and escaped? As soon as it was brought up, some people said that Che Ruoqian was trying to clear her name. Others said that even if the truth was like this, Che Ruoqian only had a grudge against He village and not He Xiaomi. She was her own flesh and blood. Shouldn't she share some motherly love with her? It was really like the saying, no matter what happened, the child was innocent. As a mother, she should treat her child well and sacrifice for her child unconditionally. That was how a great mother should be. He Xiaomi didn't respond to this, but the media didn't let her and her son off. They dug up some interviews of the He family's mother and son from a few years ago. Look, here comes the evidence again. He Xiaomi was unwilling to talk about this matter, but she still has her grandmother and father. They were actually interviewed about this matter a few years ago. Che Ruoqian abandoned the couple. She can't run away. Yeah, they say that men become bad when they're rich. This woman is the same. Che Ruoqian probably thought that the He family was too poor, so she ran away. Look at her life now. She's living a good life. If it weren't for the fact that so much was exposed, who would have thought that she was someone who abandoned her husband and daughter? I heard that she used to appear at charity events often. She's probably doing this for the sake of her reputation. Allow me to ask, what was the predecessor of He family village? I've checked on the internet. Although Che Ruoqian's family isn't rich, it's still a small county. It's so far away from Hijia village. How do you think she won a Hijia village? Also, that He Dijin is nearly 20 years older than her. How could a girl from a county household register marry into a place like this when she's still a university student? Through all kinds of information, it was not hard to guess that Che Ruoqian was just one of the victims of the He family village. She was abducted to that place. She didn't abandon her husband and daughter. What she did was called escaping. Also, have you checked her fighting history? She started from scratch. Although the contents of the comments were different, they were quickly scolded by other netizens and then drowned in the numerous comments. Chapter 52:17. I know that our family has let her down, but no matter what, Xiaomi is her daughter. Xiaomi is so promising because we want her to treat her differently, said old Madam He. Even if she hates us, she shouldn't disappoint Xiaomi time and time again. He Dijin said, now, we just hope that she can acknowledge Xiaomi and let bygones be bygones. This was the He family's latest response. They had seen the overwhelming discussion about Che Ruoqian online and felt that this matter was settled. Che Ruoqian didn't want to talk about the past at all. Would someone like her admit that she had been abducted in public? Since she hadn't responded for so long, it was obvious that she wanted to hide it, so the two of them boldly responded. But to avoid being betrayed, they didn't blame Che Ruoqian too much. Their words were vague. When they said that they had let Che Ruoqian down, they were talking about her abduction. The netizens understood that they felt that their family was poor and couldn't give Che Ruoqian a good life. Nowadays, netizens especially like to oppose each other. For example, they would automatically imagine that the woman was a materialistic person who despised the poor and loved the rich. Auntie, it's your turn now. Zhui saw the latest news online and reminded Che Ruoqian, who was sitting there. In just 2 days, she had obviously lost a lot of weight. The He family has already responded to this matter, but He Xiaomi still hasn't said anything. I think the company has told her that if nothing goes wrong, she won't say anything about this matter. Because of the current entertainment industry, the netizens won't blame her at all. They will only understand her behavior. Zhuai was still observing Che Ruoqian's expression when he said this. Seeing that she didn't show any other expression, he knew that Che Ruoqian didn't care about her daughter. There was no hatred or love. She just treated her as a stranger. Actually, this wasn't a bad attitude. It should be said that Che Ruoqian's behavior was already considered open-minded. I have no more questions. Little Zhuai, what should I do now? Tang Tianxua was sitting on Che Ruoqian's left and Tanghua was holding her arm on her right. With her husband and daughter giving her unlimited courage, she wouldn't be afraid. On Zhuai's sofa, the Zhua couple was also there. Yes, there was still the elder brother and elder sister who had brought her out back then. Now, they had come to help her again. With so many people supporting her, it was time for her to tell the truth about what had happened back then. Not only did she have to recall all the truth, but she also had to send the He family's mother and son to prison. This was the only way to truly end this matter. What will happen next might be a little cruel to Andy. I need you to record a long video and tell me exactly what happened. I've already contacted the women who left the He family village back then. Some of them are willing to accompany Andy to do this. We'll expose the evil deeds that the He family village did back then and hold them accountable. Joy said, also, my parents will also take out all the information. My father took a lot of photos of the He family village in the past. I was planning to use it, but I didn't expect that because of Andy's reminder, the He family village would change so much, so I didn't use it. Che Ruotian replied, all right, I'll do as you say. She saw the worry on Tang Tianxua's face and held his hand tightly. Don't worry, it's no big deal. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translations Transmigration. Female supporting character, Calm Down will continue to be updated in the new Booksy Pavilion. There will be no advertisements on the website. Please bookmark and recommend the new Booksy Pavilion. Like to Wear Fast. Supporting female lead, Calm Down, please collect. Wear Fast. Supporting female lead, Calm Down. New book page updates the fastest. Chapter 52:18. Tang Tianxua didn't think that it was a big deal. In his dream, Che Ruotian even ended her life because of it. No matter how relieved she was, the damage that this incident had done to her was something that could never be erased. Grab and seize. But he didn't say anything else. He just silently stayed by Che Ruotian's side. He wanted to appear in the camera with her. When Che Ruotian talked about the first half of her life, he also wanted to appear. He just appeared a little too late. When Che Ruotian encountered that series of tragedies, he was still a university student. Other than studying, he only knew how to play basketball and games. If they had met earlier, perhaps there wouldn't have been such a tragedy. Che Ruotian started to record the video. She was dressed very simply, and her expression was very gentle. She didn't have the domineering aura that she had in the business world. Strangers in front of the screen. Hello? I'm the Che Ruotian that you've been talking about recently. During this period, I've seen a lot of people scolding me. I've really never encountered such a situation before. The scolding is very unpleasant to hear, but it's actually nothing to me, because my previous experience was much more difficult than my current situation. It should be said that I couldn't see any hope in life at all during those 2 years. It was as if I could see my end at a glance. Today, I'm sitting here to respond to this matter not because I want to give you an explanation, but because I want to give myself an explanation. I also want to give an explanation to my family who cares about me. They've been very worried about me recently. They're the people that I cherish the most. I shouldn't let them worry. More than 20 years ago, I was still a university student. Just like the university students now, I was full of vitality every day and felt that life was full of hope. Che Ruotian spoke slowly and told them about how she had been kidnapped to a remote mountain village to find a part-time job during the holidays and sold to the He family village. Her voice was very calm, but it made people's hearts ache when they heard it. A female university student who was like a flower in her youth encountered such a thing. No one wouldn't feel sad. She also talked about how old Madam He helped He Dijin rape her in the He family village. She also talked about everything that she saw in the He family village. She also said that in her desperate situation, she only wanted to escape. She didn't know how many times she had thought of ways to escape. She then talked about meeting Zhuo Chengfei, who was a hiker. She asked for help and escaped. She also said that after she escaped, she felt that the whole world had changed. She was afraid of the light outside and was afraid of seeing other people. When she saw those people, she always thought that everyone knew what had happened to her. Those people who were looking at her were mocking her and pointing at her. She had walked out of the darkness and started a new life. When she succeeded, she met the person she could spend the rest of her life with. Next was the conversation between Che Ruotian and Tang Tianxua. She didn't exaggerate at all. She was telling the truth the entire time. When Che Ruotian's video was released, it aroused the curiosity of netizens. QM. Looking at Che Ruotian's video on the hot search list, they clicked on it without hesitation. They thought that they would see some official answers, but they didn't expect it to be the first half of Che Ruotian's life. This video had no background music, no motivating words, only a simple statement, but it made many people cry. In the end, Che Ruotian also expressed that she would take up the weapon of law to defend the grievances she suffered many years ago. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.